So for anyone that's unfamiliar with this small channel here, every product, if it's not sent to me by like a, I forget what they're called, but if it's not quite a sponsor, but you know, I receive emails all the time about different products and I review them. I don't take $1 for any of those products because I believe that once you get bought, you are willing to say and do anything for money. And it's a slippery slope when it comes to the truth, especially when it comes to tech, or at least how I feel the truth is, which I could be wrong, but nevertheless, it's just a personal opinion. So when I first bought the 12R, I ended up getting the iPhone 15 Plus. I got a blue one, I believe it was. My wife had a pink one. She still does. Bought them straight out. Didn't like the iPhone. I didn't like the fact that I have zero customization, being able to drag and drop applications, switch between PC and all that stuff. It's just easier for Android users to do that. Granted, yeah, Apple has their own ecosystem, but I'm not buying an iPad. That's stupid. I'm not buying a Mac computer. That's even dumber. It's not for me. I game on my PC. I do a bunch of things that I need certain freedoms in order to, you know, run my channel. In addition to that, I don't want to pay top dollar for basic common services. So that's one of the reasons why I stick to Android. I like mid-tier devices. So when OnePlus dropped the 12R, let me kind of give you some specifications before we go into this. 256 gigs internally. Looks like 27.3 is used for the software. So, you know, minus that, that's what you have left. Snapdragon 8th Gen second mobile platform. I'll say it again for anyone that, you know, was in the beginning of this video. 6.78 inches, 16 gigs of RAM plus 4 if you add that RAM booster thing. 5500 mAh battery, 100 watt fast charger. Comes with it, by the way, and it charges your phone in 26 minutes. On top of that, you had the no wireless charging, unfortunately. Front camera, 16 megapixels. Rear camera is 50 megs, 8 for the secondary, second for the third. I don't know why they even have the third one for 2 megapixels. It's a waste of time. But nevertheless, the cameras were good enough where the average person, obviously, if you have an iPhone or a higher end device that costs $1,000, you're going to notice a dramatic difference in quality, especially in different lighting and things like that. But for the average person, we don't care. We do not care. Now, we just wanted something that worked, and it gets up to, I think, 3 years of software updates and 4 years worth of, 3 years worth of OS updates and 4 years worth of software updates, right? So this is something interesting. So I actually switched recently because, you know, I review phones all the time, and I wasn't going to get this originally, but they had at the store the Moto Edge 2024. And this has a Snapdragon 7th, second gen, whatever. It doesn't even have even close to the specs of the OnePlus in terms of like, put it this way, the overall quality on the OnePlus is better. Though I do feel like the software on the Motorola, I think I said that incorrectly. The specs on this is better, but the software on the Moto, I think, is going to, not the specs, but the software in general, how it navigates, I think is a lot more user friendly than the Motorola. So as I'm doing reviews on products, right, and you know, I normally use multiple headphones and stuff to do reviews, I decided to use my OnePlus right here. The sound was so low. So I tried something. I tried the Soundcore C30Is. I tried the Soundcore A30Is. I went over to the Nothing Buds. I went over to other Soundcore products. I tried a couple JLabs. You want to know what happened? The general consensus was that the Bluetooth volume was substantially lower than any other phone that I ever had, to the point where people can talk over me and I can hear them perfectly, and the music's at 100% volume, maximum volume. So I tried that with other devices and none of them seem to have that problem. So I go online and I look at the forums and I'm like, all right, OnePlus, how do we fix this problem? People are like, reset the network and go to developer options and why do I have to do all that just for it to work like every other phone that I had my entire life in the last 10 years or so? The OnePlus N20, N30, N10, N200, none of those had this problem that I'm saying right now. It doesn't have this problem. So what happens is, as a reviewer, if I put headphones connected to this and say, oh, they sound lower than what they needed to be, that's because the headset, the phone is the piece of garbage that's causing the problem, not the headset itself. So you'll be getting an inaccurate review. So for me, sound matters. I'm riding in the streets. I have ear clips in. I talk to my wife to and from on a scooter, stuff like that. She speaks to me. I need to be able to hear her. And I'm noticing that the sound profile for the Bluetooth is just fucking mediocre. It's really, really bad. I don't know what they did. I even went into the settings and turned off the absolute volume or turned it on. I did everything that was suggested online. And even at the highest octave, it is substantially lower than this cheap $299 Motorola phone. Granted, this phone costs like $5 something at Best Buy, which is nuts to me. I don't know what person in their right mind would pay that for a Moto Edge 2024, but for Metro it's $299. And as I'm using it, don't get me wrong, the processor worked just fine. Everything else seemed to be fine for the most part. But then I found out there was an issue with the charging speeds. When I charged the Moto, right, while using this, it was still charging just a little bit, depending on where the percentage is, faster than the OnePlus. The OnePlus, I might be at 20-something%. I plug it into a charger. I got a video converting in the background, something like that. Obviously, processes make the phone charge slower, but not so much to the point where I thought the Moto would actually overpower it in that regard. That doesn't make any sense to me. So the 100 watt charging does work if you have the phone turned off, or if you have the phone on standby, which is a lock screen, or you're not doing anything on it. If you're using YouTube or watching shorts and stuff, it's still going to charge your phone super fast. I'm not taking that away. But I do notice that when you do actual things on your phone, like editing and other stuff, that's where the strength of the phone starts to suffer. It doesn't lag or anything because that 8th gen processor works very well for this phone. That, in my opinion, this is a high-end processor, probably from the yonder days a couple years ago, but it still works very, very well for anybody else. You go get an 854 or something, that's not going to overpower this. So that's why I say, it really depends on what it is you're trying to do in your life. But what I started noticing, right, is that over time, certain applications in this phone would just be like laggy. Like I would use Power Amp. Granted, it is a third-party app. And when I click into it, it didn't quite load the songs anymore. It would just like be extra blurry for about 3 real seconds before it finally registered. Or certain applications would just not load slower, but it felt like it was being held hostage. Like it was just trying to process certain things, and once it loaded, it was perfectly fine. And again, that's not really the Power Amp thing was something that I use every single day on a regular basis, so I noticed it. While the other stuff could have been a network issue or a hiccup here and there, keep in mind I barely ever reset my phone. I might have reset my phone 2 times since I actually had it and started using it. And by reset, I mean power cycle, power off and power on. So again, the performance was really, really good. But when you're playing games, works fine. Notifications, I like how OnePlus does notifications where it actually grays it out in the background when you're playing a game, so like Call of Duty Mobile, so I can still see everything on the screen. It doesn't hinder my gameplay. You also have the option to actually block notifications, so if you're using a smartwatch like this, it'll still pop up on a watch and phone calls and everything like that, but then the phone itself won't show it because you're doing something like screen recording or something like that. It works very well. The editing app is disgusting on OnePlus, in my opinion, where if you try to crop something, it's like this preset crops, which I don't know why anyone in their right mind would do that in terms of software, but I normally just use Google Photos, so it's not a big deal. Or I use Canva or UCut or whatever it is. And again, the phone works very well for those reasons. But at the end of the day, the Bluetooth connectivity to me does matter. So while I'm connecting to, I don't know, let's say this Motorola device or iPhone 15 Plus. Matter of fact, I'm not even gonna use the iPhone because that's not fair comparison. It's nearly a $500 difference. These two phones are in the same price point. Now, granted, Metro sells this one for $299 right now, straight up, unless you're, porting, I think it's free, and then $99 for a new line or something like that. While the OnePlus, I don't think they carry OnePluses anymore. And this guy, again, is $499. And at the time, you could trade in a busted phone or whatever it is, and it will give you $100 off. So both of them are deals. They both work in their own rights. But you're going to notice that if you come from any other Bluetooth device, unless you're coming from a free phone from 2008 or something like that, you're going to be like, oh, this is a huge upgrade, which it is an upgrade in every single way, both of them. But the sound profiles do matter. And I can't sit here and lie and act like this phone doesn't have problems. It does. So for the person out there that's thinking about buying the OnePlus 12R, just keep in mind that I do believe that your overall experience with swiping, phone calls, recordings, voice recordings, editings, gaming, whatever you use the phone for, I think it's going to be just fine. Even when it comes to the 5G, the emails and stuff popping up, it does pop up all the time on the screen. It might use a little bit more energy than other phones, but the battery itself is actually very good. And I can honestly say that it doesn't optimize the apps too well. Like in terms of, I get a lot of pop-ups saying you're using too much strength in this particular app. And I just swipe away and just ignore it because I know that the phone's power with the 16 gigs of RAM, it's going to run just fine. But when it comes to the Bluetooth, if I turn on my Bluetooth 100%, depending on the type, especially like the ear clips right here, which are meant to be open ear headphones, it sounds mediocre. No, it sounds loud. But then when you compare it to another Bluetooth device, you notice that no, something is terribly wrong. And then when I go into forums and looking up OnePlus users' gripes, and if they have the same issue, a lot of them pop up with the same issue back from their OnePlus 8 and their OnePlus 9 and OnePlus 10 and OnePlus 11. How many years are you guys going to keep giving us shithole, excuse my language, terrible sound profiles for your phones? Just fix the problem. It's not that hard to fix. It can't possibly be that hard to fix. You guys normally make some decent, affordable phones. Now, unfortunately, as of recording this video, I stopped using the OnePlus. Now, if I happen to find a fix that does take care of this problem, by all means, I will pop up on the screen and let you guys know immediately why this is happening. But I can't figure it out. I am not a professional, and I can't figure it out. I looked up forums, I look up YouTubers, I look up different people showing me how to do all these things, and it's all I'm going to say. If you have to go into developer settings to make your phone run the way it's supposed to, that phone isn't worth buying. All right, that's all I got to say. Anyway, hopefully next time the OnePlus Nord 4 or whatever other phones they have don't have this problem, because again, I've only come across this with the OnePlus 12R. I normally had the cheaper phones, which it's weird how the cheaper phones from Metro by T-Mobile and stuff tend to have less problems than the ones that are supposed to be more flagship or higher tier. It doesn't make any sense. Like, pay attention to the phone. Hook up the Bluetooth to it. I don't know what you're using, but it's not good. That's all I got to say. Anyway, like and subscribe like always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Till then, take care. Peace.